Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to another Wednesday evening live stream with the Shower Door Professionals. We are here to discuss shower doors, shower door business. We like to talk about marketing. We like to talk about safety. Like to talk about, all kinds of stuff that has to do with the shower door industry and how to improve it, how to raise the level of value for our customers and for each other. So, thanks for joining us. We've got a pretty good group here tonight. I think we're going to have some good conversations. Be sure to, share this with your friends. Maybe like it. If you make a comment, if you're watching on YouTube or something like that. If you add a comment, that does a lot to help boost us in the old algorithms. So really appreciate that. I see Christina. She's out there. What's going on, Christina? Do you want to give us a little update on what's happening? I know there's a lot going on.
Yes, sorry, technologically challenged there for a second.
Great.
Hi, I'm Christina. I'm the president of the Shower Door Professionals Cooperative. If you don't know what that is, feel free to go to showerdoorprofessionals.com, and I can also give you a small elevator pitch for that. The Shower Door Professionals Cooperative is a group of shower door professionals who have been vetted and been in business for a good long time and are doing all the right things based on the National Glass Association's recommendations and can feel very confident recommending one another across the country. And so that's what we're trying to build, a network of professionals across the country that can be recommended and referred so that we have this national network. And then we'll hopefully be able to market our services on a more national scale, but as independent local businesses. So we're really excited about the opportunities related to that. And we also have a lot of interest from some of our vendors that we work with. So you might have noticed we've had some vendor sponsored calls. Um, and a lot of our vendors are just interested in working with people like you guys. So we're always looking for new members. We're always looking for opportunities to serve the members. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself, Chris, Shannon, Mike, Merlina, Lana, Rob Gomez, any of us. There are a lot of us. So, and we have, I believe, 17 members. So already rolling. So we're really excited.
Wow.
Our next vendor sponsored call is with 310 Tempering. That'll be Greg Abrams. And Chris, what is the date of that?
That's
March
next week. So is that the
12th.
12th? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So we have just loved 310 Tempering. I know a lot of people have posted and seen posts about the Phantom slider and how not only beautiful it is, but a seamless install and solves a lot of problems with the weight specifications that we see on other double sliding systems. So that'll be wonderful to hear from him. And I think he's possibly got a new product up his sleeve to talk about next week. So next week's call is going to be a really good one to attend. Um, and that's all I'm going to say for right now. I think that just about covers the current updates.
That's great. Awesome. Thanks, Christina. Yeah, it's off to a great start. I mean, really just officially launched like towards the end of last year and already like, yeah, 17 companies. And there's a lot of cities in the United States. So probably a lot of opportunity for individuals to get involved in the co-op. It's a lot of fun too. So thanks for your leadership and yeah, great to see you all. Tonight I thought we would talk a little bit about just how do you manage time and productivity? Do you have some questions about how to better manage time, prioritizing tasks, increasing productivity at your shop? Do you have some tips about that? Do you have some experience with finding ways of just getting the most out of your calendar. I know that there are people on the call who would love to hear any wisdom that you've gained over the years about that, or even just maybe answer some questions that you've got about it. It's a big one. Man, I mean, when you got a whole crew of technicians out there, maybe a bunch of trucks out on the road, minutes count. It adds up. It's kind of like when you're doing a big, curtain wall or something. Every 16th, like 1/16 isn't very much, but if you multiply it by 20 or 30, it starts to add up pretty quick. And so anyway, I know that we've got a couple people on the call who've got bigger crews. So I'm sure that they've really thought about it. But yeah, what do you got? Who wants to start?
What are you looking for?
Bill Dobman. How you doing, Bill?
Good, 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 Chris.
I'll bet you've got some tips and tricks for like kind of wrangling in the time management sort of thing.
We we went through a lot of that wasteful time. A lot of it was in the morning, guys coming in to get their job, going through their paperwork before they leave, then starting to dig through the pile of sweeps and get themselves a sweep, and then they're channeling and then load up on screws and caulking. And we got to the point where it made sense for us to hire somebody to stage everything on a cart for those guys for the next day. So when they come in the morning, their cart is all set for them. Metals or hardware, handles, clamps, hinges are set in a tray for them. Their paperwork is all laid out and it's ready to go. Then they just grab their glass, but their glass is already on a cart also. So everything is on a cart and they just roll it out to the truck. So from the time they check in at 8 o'clock, they're on the road between 8:15 and 8:20 every day. And the second thing is we had to change. They used to all then go to the gas station and they'd go in and get their lunch or whatever. And I'd have 20 guys sitting around the same gas station for another half hour. So we had to change the rules there. And now the gas gets it at the end of the day because they come back at random times. They're to fill up at the end of the day. So first thing in the morning, as soon as they load up their trucks, they're on the road, they're gone. And then they don't stop and get gas till they come back at the end of the day. And that saved a lot of time and efficiency, and it beats the early morning traffic also.
Wow. Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah,
Now,
because like you say, everybody's leaving at the same time, but they're coming back staggered.
yeah,
So,
they come back staggered, so it makes sense. The second thing is they're not uh, digging into inventory, not that they're stealing it, but guys like to help themselves to load up their truck. And if they do that, they'll take a box of screws instead of 10 or 15 screws for a job, or they'll take a case of caulking instead of a couple of tubes. And then the next crew needs it, and there's nothing left, and there was nobody there to control it. So now each truck has to write a requisition sheet for what they want in their truck. We'll do it. We'll control the inventory and put it on their cart. So there's none of that digging in the morning. And not only was the digging costing time, it was inefficient, and we really didn't have good control of the inventory. So now we have much better control of the inventory.
wow.
That was a huge savings. Second was on drill bits. We found that guys were putting them in their pocket and ending up on their dressers at home. Then the next day they need more drill bits. So then we had a policy that we'll give you the drill bits for the job, but you got to turn in your old ones. Sounds petty, but it worked because we were going through drill bits like nobody's business, and they were expensive. But if they turn in the old ones, if they turn in 6, they get 6 new ones. If they only turn in 5, well, they're responsible for 1. And that makes them more responsible for everything. Their batteries, their drills. We provide it, but they have to take care of it. If they lose it, it's on them. They have to get new ones.
Wow.
So that
That
was
sounds That
That was
sounds petty, but I like it a lot, honestly, because we account for one drill bit per door, more for the most part when we're pricing it, and we'll give them a drill bit per door. But getting it back, because sometimes they don't use it, like getting them back, that's nice. I like that. I don't. How did that go over?
That's part of the job. I mean,
Fine.
if it was the old guys when we first instituted it, yeah, they thought it was petty. As you hire
Yeah,
new guys and the old guys move on, that's part of
it
the
is what
job.
it is. Yeah,
It's just the way we do things. But
yeah.
it's how you sell it too. It's not that
Hmm.
you guys are stealing stuff. That was never the intention. The intention is we had to control the inventory to know when to reorder more and to get them.
Hmm.
And if we just let everybody have access to all that backup inventory, it was really like the inmates running the asylum. There was no control at all. And again, it's not that it was bad that they were stealing stuff. That was never their intention. But we were finding cases of razor blades in guys' trucks, just that they were hogging them. They didn't want to be without them, but they were taking the whole box of razor blades and stick them in their truck. And it was ridiculous. And the same for all their small parts, the little brackets that lock the headers in, the gray anchors, you name it. They were just stockpiling their truck. And the drill bits were the big thing, though. They're expensive, and I
Hmm.
know that some of them were being pocketed. I know it. I didn't want to blame them for it, but I just wanted to do a inventory control.
Yeah.
Really did work well.
Thank you
Same
for
thing with
sharing that.
same thing with extension cords. Turn in your old one. If it's damaged, we'll throw it out. Don't throw it out and say, I need a new extension cord. Give it to us. Let us know that you still have it. You didn't leave it at a job site somewhere. Extension cords, levels, blankets, you name it. We'll get you new ones when they're worn out. No problem. Just turn in the old one.
Yeah, and it's important for you to be able to track all that so that you know, hey, this is how long an extension cord lasts on average. This is how long a cordless drill battery
Yeah.
lasts, I mean, because we've been tracking it over the years and we know that this is what we should expect. And the average guy has no idea what things actually cost. And then there's no reason for them to. They don't need to know because they need to be able to focus on just like installing shower doors. And that's why it's great that you have other people stocking their stuff and doing all this paperwork stuff, making sure that they have everything that they need. Then they don't have to be distracted thinking about that. They can just think about what their job is, what they have to do, and they can really excel. I think it's brilliant.
As you grow your business and you get 3, 4, 5 trucks, the first thing is they should be identical. Identical trucks, identical layouts, so that when your manager goes through the trucks, he knows exactly what to look for. And everybody has an initial starting inventory, an extra set of chrome hinges, extra brushed nickel, all the common finishes are there, an extra piece of channeling in all the finishes. But that's their inventory that they have to control and take care of. And then once a week, the installation manager just does a truck inventory with them. There's a pre-made sheet. But the other important thing is when a truck goes in for service and they have to use another truck, everything is set up identically the same. So there's no lost time like, oh, where's the 1x8 screws in this truck? And they start going through a bunch of drawers. They are all set up absolutely identically. And that was another time saver. It really was, especially when you get a new guy and you put him in another truck. And if it wasn't organized the same way, it would take forever. So consistency makes a big, big difference as you grow your business.
Being organized, being able to find what you're looking for right away. It's a huge time saver. I mean, everybody on this call knows this. I mean, everybody who's ever installed um, has had that experience of like, oh man, where's that? You know, that one thing that you have to move forward and to be off looking around in the truck or wherever trying to find that one
Yep.
screw, that one drill bit, that one little clamp or whatever.
Yep. Every single toolbox. that they have is laid out the same. They're all marked and labeled and they're laid out the same. So you roll in your toolbox, you're looking for a Phillips screw or the insert to go in your power drill. They're all in the same spot. I see a lot of guys working out of one of those tool bags and they're digging through the bottom. It'll take them 10 minutes to get to the bottom of their bag to find that little magnetic screw head that goes in their Phillips bit. It's just ridiculous the amount of time they lose. Set it up once, set it, forget it.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a glass shop and you're not doing that, you're definitely losing. You're definitely losing. There's just no way around it. You have to be organized like that.
The other thing is travel when you're setting up your schedule. Don't be afraid to call a customer and move a schedule around. Just because you booked them for Tuesday at 3 o'clock doesn't mean they're not available on other days. If you give them a couple of days in advance. So if you've got a job that's in the same zip code or just a couple of streets down or the same community, don't be afraid to call them and say, hey, we have another job in that community. Do you mind if we moved you to another day? Especially if you move them up a day or so.
Yeah.
But then you can get one guy within a quarter of a mile and he's not driving all over town fighting traffic and wasting gas. That's the other thing. Don't be afraid to call people. Most people will appreciate that call, and sometimes those calls work out better for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, when you're selling a job, whenever I would sell a job, I'd always ask them, "Hey, how flexible are you? I mean, if something comes in right away, can we call you up? Can we, work it in?" And not everybody can be, but a lot of people can. A lot of people are retired or work from home. They're like, "Oh yeah, absolutely." Anytime call. So just having that in your notes to know that, hey, here's a person that if we have something fall through, we can send guys over there, if we've got their materials. A lot of people love that. They'll give you a great review if you get it done early.
Yeah. I know years ago we used to use Nextel phones. I don't know if you remember those, but they were like the mini walkie-talkies, almost like what Rapid Radios is now. And there were times that guys run a job site and even their backup was damaged or scratched or something. And just by using their phones, they call another truck that's not far away and they could meet them a couple of blocks away. So instead of driving all the way back to the shop, they could meet them somewhere and get the job done. So not having to have go backs and getting the job done was extremely important as well. The other good thing about efficiencies in the shop is that when you get an 8-foot length of channel and you're doing a door notch panel return for the guys that use channel, that scrap, that leftover piece is very important because you're going to use it on the next door notch panel return and you don't have to use a whole stick. So we have our cutoffs put aside and they're categorized every couple of inches. So when you're looking at the job sheet preparing the job for going out and getting staged, we use a lot of those cutoffs or what we call drops. That happens a lot. So it makes you very, very efficient.
Phil, do you have any fancy tips about how to manage inventory of drops at all, or is that just going to plague everyone forever?
Well, we have a location for them, but to manage them, like when we allocate, let's say if you use channel on a door and panel, so your fixed panel, let's say you're putting it in with channel as opposed to clamps, we use one stick. And that's what we keep in inventory, and that's what we assign to the job. Now, if there's some left over from that, no, I don't manage that. We put it in the rack next to the cutting table. And when that guy prepares the next job, if it needs where you have the door, a notched panel, so you've got that little notch over piece, that's a perfect time to use that and the drops. And they wrap them up. Don't really manage them, but they're there. And when you train the guys to do the staging, you just train them to use those drops wherever you can. But
it feels really good when you get a perfect length. They're like just 1 inch over, so they have enough to cut off,
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah.
Strive for that. Well, yeah, it's funny because when we bring in our extrusions, I can bring it in whatever length I want. And we used to do 100 inches. Uh, you can ship 98 via UPS, but
Right.
they always had that little clamp mark on you when they did the extrusion and pulling it through. So you had to cut that off anyhow. But we used to bring that in and make some cutoffs, and we would do some five. Let me see. No, that's on our sliding doors. We would do 60 to 61 inches for our headers and our bottom tracks, and let the guys cut it on the job site, the header and the bottom track. But for our channelings, we were bringing them in a little over 8 feet, and it made a lot of sense. And then I brought in 16 footers for those really long jobs, so we kept them as extra inventory in the shop. But as far as job costing, Christina, we're costing in one channel for a job like that. We'll add it up, and whatever that inches comes to, that's what we assign to that job. If it's some left over, that's great. We made more profit on that job. But no, we don't go around and count those at the end of the month and put them back in inventory.
The guy who's doing the stocking of the parts, that's got his system of tracking, give him ownership of that. It's like, hey, I don't care how you do it, but somehow keep track of these little pieces and use them.
Yeah. And it's not so much keeping track. Be aware of it. Use them where you can. Let's get efficient. Yeah. And I don't know about you guys, what you do with your scrap metals or even your removal metals, but we've been selling them to the scrap dealers, and man, that's our Christmas party. And we can give a pretty good Christmas party with that, or donations to Children's Hospital. But that's money sitting there. And if you don't use it, some guy's going to go through your dumpster and take it. I would
We
definitely
do
do
the
it.
same thing. We'll separate the brass from all the aluminum doors, and if we're removing an aluminum door, we'll bring it back and take it apart and throw the glass away and save the metal.
Yeah. I mean, during COVID, it was over $1 a pound
Hmm.
for the clean metal.
Mhm.
And it was
You pull
around
out.
60 cents for the dirty.
Hmm. There's a big difference between the dirty metals and then all the other stuff, the brass, all the solid brass stuff. We make
Yeah.
sure we separate that pretty well because
Yeah.
it's amazing what you'll get for a little box of solid brass versus what you'll get for a whole bin full of dirty aluminum.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But it's still something.
That's right.
And I can attest to what you're saying about you have everything staged for the guys in the morning and stuff like that. Every now and then we get it right in the mornings and have things scheduled and perfect and nice and smooth. And sometimes the truck's even loaded the day before if we have time for it. And it is just amazing when everything is set up, loaded, ready to go versus the days when things are not ready and things are just piecemealed together because you didn't schedule things or you weren't sure who the heck was going to show up the particular day or whatever was going on. But it is amazing the amount of time that it'll save. Like, when you can get stuff ready the day before and have it ready for them. The guys will be standing there wondering what else they're supposed to do, but you're supposed to leave and go start working. You're ready, you're good, you're go, you know. So sometimes it's nice. So, but it doesn't happen all the time for us. But
A lot of times the guys in the trades think that, I don't know, that they can get away with a lot of stuff. And maybe I said it wrong, get away, but they take some leniency on things. They'll come in, get their job in the morning, go to the gas station up, then let's go get a coffee and we'll grab our sandwich or have a breakfast bite. And meanwhile, the customer's at home waiting for them and waiting for them. And so we had to stop that practice and say, guys, bring your lunch. Bring a bag, a box, whatever you do for lunch, but bring it with you. You can you can eat it between jobs. You can pull the truck over and eat at lunchtime, but we're not paying you to leave here and then stay at the gas station for the next half hour so you can get some donuts and coffee and do whatever with the rest of the guys and play your fantasy football. That's not efficient, and it just upsets the customers when you start your day off late. So we just had to do that. That's a policy. Any of you guys put GPSs in the trucks, you can set notifications. So we used to set notifications for any particular station that we knew that they would go to, and we'd put up a geo fence around it, and it would give us an alert that, hey, they're starting to stop at this station. If I saw two trucks stopping at the same time, they would get a phone call immediately. They knew we didn't want that. That was already policy, and we went through that during orientation. But
Yeah,
just learning curves.
got to snip it in the bud.
Tried to anyhow.
Anyhow,
I got burned for many years by not doing it.
yeah.
Once you make the transition, and again, it sounds petty at first, but boy, does it add up. It really does.
Well, it becomes the culture,
Yes.
if you set the standards, and people have this misunderstanding of human nature that they think people want leniency, and really deep down, we all really want to be held to account. We all want expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And people really rise to that. If you lay down, I mean, you got to be kind, and so, but I mean, if you lay down the law and like, hey, man, this is what I expect from you. I expect better from you. People will respond to that positively. I mean, in just about every case. If not, they're not the person that you want.
Yeah. They respect it. They really, truly do. It's good for the whole company, right? I mean, when they're looking for raises and you say, hey, you didn't do this, didn't this. How do you expect me to give you a raise? You didn't do this. And then it gets contagious because now the other guys in the other trucks see it and say, well, gee, if he can get away with it, I can do it. However, if you can nip it in the bud, then they won't do it and it gets contagious. Hey, I wouldn't do that. I just saw Bill stop by the station the other day, or the GPS went off, or whatever it was. Word gets out pretty fast. So those were tips I learned, after many years of mistakes.
Those are some good ones, man.
Yeah. The staging in the morning is like, it's worth paying the money for the carts and having everything ready. They come in, their cart's ready, their paperwork's there. There's no questions. They put in a requisition the day before. I need paper towels, spray away, this and that. It's in their cart for them. That's it. We take care of it. Whatever, everything down to a flare pen or blue tape. We're doing it. They don't go digging through the shop for it. It's already there. They're gone.
Yeah. Who can complain about that?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I wish I'd have had a job like that back when I was an employee.
I always told you guys, when you start doing when we started doing our own Easy Care Shield or coatings or whatever you do, we started doing our own. The person that I hired to do that is the same person that loads the carts. So it's a dual role. The money that we make off of the coating on the glass paid for his salary, and now he does the staging, and that saves us money with the guy standing around every day. It's terrific. And in the case of Dan's, and I've been in that same situation, we had the trucks loaded the night before, ready to go. Invariably, somebody calls and the job can't go in. Now you got to take it back out of the truck, back in. And that's when glass chips and cracks and things get lost or messed up. So when you have a dedicated guy that has a system, it's so important. Let him reschedule the glass on the carts and swap it out.
Yeah, because if stuff's loaded up on a cart, it's not loaded on the truck. I mean, it's not like you have to load it and unload it. I mean, it just sits there on the cart. So it is ready to be.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
We usually clamp it off. We won't tie it. We won't tie it down, but it still took the effort to stick it on the truck sometimes. But we don't have, most of the guys take their trucks home, so there's only one that actually sticks around that we can load up if we want. But that's one thing I was wondering, how do you deal with that on the time saving, I guess, when somebody's calling out and stuff like that, if it's a lead guy, and then how do you shuffle that around? Because that takes time and it takes a lot of phone calls and stuff like that. That's one of our biggest things is shuffling the schedule around when people call out,
That's a big deal. It's a big deal. I remember pulling my hair out on mornings like that because it was usually Doug or Keith that would have to go fill in. I didn't want to cancel the job. So we would either, Doug or Keith would go fill in as a lead or put it to another team and try and find out who has the sliders. And have that done by one guy because our guys go out in sets of two. So
Mhm.
I could break them up and get, take a team and okay, you take this truck and you're doing these sliders in this direction, you're doing these sliders. Then I can put a team back on the other job. So
Yeah.
sliders are the only job, not even single doors, only sliders that I allow a single guy to do. The rest of them are
That's really cool and interesting, though. Why not single doors?
just because of the potential of chipping and breaking, not just carrying them in. Because usually we do a lot of half-inch glass, but if they're there trying to do it and then wedge it and get back up, just moving around. Uh,
Mm.
Back then, though, we didn't have the benefit of a lot of the gadgets that Chris was creating for solo installers. But I still like anything with a hinge to line it up and make it go better. I like using two guys. There's probably more than 50% of glass shops that use single installers for that. They'll use single installers for door and panel, door notch panel. And I know Tom Whitaker was using a single guy for door notch panel returns.
It's a
But
good policy to use two guys, though, not just for like safety and eliminating damage, but a crew of two will be more productive in the long run, even if it's you've got some single doors and there are some sliders or whatever, because you just get that synergy of two
yeah,
people working together, and especially if you got a good team.
yeah.
Um, I used to work alone a lot just because I couldn't find any help, and I just kind of like had to. So I got resourceful.
Yeah. You do that, but I struggled. I did it myself years ago, and I've seen Keith do it and Doug do it. And, you get a single door up in place, you're ready to mark it, you drop your pen, it's now you got to go get that or try and stretch your leg over and make sure the door doesn't chip. But it's just not worth it.
There's so
Just
many
not.
trips in and out, and like, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work on one guy
It
to
is.
do
It is.
even a simple installation because it's so many times in and out. You can only carry so much stuff. And yeah, if you've got two, it's a lot, it's so much easier.
Just going through the screen door and the front door. If you're
Yep.
not careful, you're going to damage the door. They have a closer that comes too quick, or there's a dog that runs out on you.
Yep.
Going up a staircase, you could ding the sheetrock or the stairs. I just like having a guy on each end of the glass, just safer. That's me. There's a lot of guys that don't do it that way, and it seems to work for them. Or I don't hear about the real major disasters.
Yeah. Not judging or anything, just saying.
Just I don't know. There's a lot of guys that do it that way, and God bless them. I just feel more comfortable in twos.
Yeah, I mean it's on topic because it does lend to productivity and time management and
It
all
does.
really having really a team, two are better than one. They just really are. As long as they work well together, right?
Yeah, yeah, and that's what our supervisor's for, and they all do. I think I've had once or twice we had to shift teams around. It's not a big deal to shift them around, but yeah, they work good together. The other good thing is we have a lot of paperwork to fill out. So the guy that's in the passenger seat should be doing that, filling out the paperwork. Job is completed, got the signature, left the copy, has the check, whatever the case. That way the driver's the driver. The guy in the passenger seat can make the phone calls and get the paperwork done.
Yep. It's good stuff.
Well, we've been continuously trying to improve our expectations and our time on jobs. We used to do like this rough sort of 1 hour per panel to install. So you've got single door 1 hour, door and panel 2 hours. It was padded, but the people who were kind of newer or something, it gave them enough time. We started narrowing that down some more and really fine tuning it and being more like, a door and panel, we're going to give you an hour and a half. And then the people that couldn't do it within that amount of time, let's have some conversations. Let's improve you. Let's get that up. There's also the time to get there. So we would have this time window and we'd say, okay, the first job arrival is going to be between 8 and 9. We start at 7. So arrival between 8 and 9, that handles the morning traffic. And then we'd kind of have later on in the day, 2 hour time window, things like that. So, but by the time that you padded the job and then you padded the time window and then you went in and you said, okay, well, it maps out as taking a half hour to get there, but I'll make it 45 minutes. Several years ago, it's been a while now, my scheduling coordinator, he's not with us anymore, but not because of this, but we're sitting at the morning meeting and we do 10-hour days now, but at the time we were doing 8-hour days. And he says, yeah, I think I got the schedule to where I just really found this sweet spot. When I'm scheduling the guys for like 4.5 hours worth of work every day, it really just works out slick. And I have this way of kind of showing how I'm feeling. And, and as he's saying this to the group in the office, he looks at me. I don't know what I look like, but he goes, or not. I'm like, 4.5 hours worth of work in an 8-hour day? I don't know about you, but some people in this company might want a paycheck, and we're not going to be able to pay anybody this way. And so I was like, okay, we are gonna nail this down. So then that guy started getting a dollar amount that he was supposed to be scheduling every day. And so now, because otherwise, why wouldn't he just, he gets the brunt of not finishing the job or people being late or whatever. Why wouldn't he, make it as easy as possible in the day? So we really had to incentivize him on the other side and say, because before we weren't really talking dollars to everybody. We're trying to do time and jobs. But for him, it's like, this is how many dollars we need each team to earn.
Mhm.
And so you now are maximizing your routes, improving your time. So that really helped to get him on the right track. And then the thing that we're doing right now, it's a work in process, but instead of going just kind of by panel and having sort of these rough numbers, within our software, we've put down an amount of time for every piece of glass. I think we just do by panel, not by square footage, but we do an amount of time per piece of glass and an amount of time associated with every piece of hardware. And so adding that all together, so then that way, you got a door and panel, but they're massive, or you got a door and a panel, but it's a steam shower. So it just, yeah, we're really trying to fine tune that and get that to where it's a good number that everyone can understand and agree with. And then we have people logging in and out of the jobs, so we can tell, what went right, what went wrong, was it in budget, out of budget, and start working with people to improve that way. Because otherwise there's just potential for fluff on top of fluff on top of fluff, and you're losing time every day.
Wow. Yeah, no kidding. And
I
that's
like it.
no, it's that figuring the time is probably the most challenging thing there is about being a contractor of any kind, right? Is you can, the materials that's easy to figure out. So it's going to be this much, this is what it's going to cost, is how much you mark it up. But predicting how much time something's going to take, man, if you master that, you've got it.
Hey Shannon, I know you just mentioned it, and I know a couple other people do it. I know Greg does it. You said you guys run 10-hour days. Do you do 10-hour days 4 days a week, or do you overlap crews and run 5 days a week? And like, what are what did you find the benefits are? Because we talked about it, with Greg, and we never really implemented anything. But I'd love to just like hear more about what you found when you changed to that.
Yeah, so our 410s, we have Team Monday and Team Friday. So it's overlapping. So we are half staffed on Mondays and Fridays. We have, I mean, we kind of first had to be big enough to be able to do that. And we would do things like me and my office manager are the ones that kind of have the same job responsibilities. So he has Fridays off and I have Mondays off. My husband Mike and our production manager, they do the same thing. One of them works Mondays, the other works Fridays. And then we did cross training for everybody. Now, the install teams, that's the easiest part because you can schedule whatever you need to schedule. If there are days where we don't even where we're not doing an install day, then for whatever reason something like didn't work out, then we just tell people, oh, I'm so sorry, Friday's not available. You don't need to tell them that we chose not to schedule on that day. But we figured that we didn't want to put out we work with contractors mostly. If it was homeowners, it'd be different, but we didn't want our contractors feeling like we were letting them down by not working on Friday or not working on Monday. So that's why we did the both. Um, Fabrication, they're a small team, so they all have Monday off. We have no fabrication on Monday. It just means that we have to be, really diligent about our scheduling and what we need to produce by Friday so that we're good for Monday and Tuesday. And our fabrication department also does the carding and things like that, like Bill was talking about. So they're carding for Monday and Tuesday as they're getting ready. So it's a little extra work and kind of tough on everybody to fill in, but so worth it. And we didn't do it for any of the company benefits. I don't know about efficiency and think, put in another day, not have, you're already on the road. I think there's something to be said for that. The one and only thing that we were working on is making our employees happy. And I know that, when when we've talked to people who are like, yeah, I've decided to leave, I'm going to go do something else. And it's like, are those people going to make you have like a 2-day weekend? They're like, I know, that's the worst part. So people really think about that. It's a huge benefit. It's huge. And not only is it like fun to have a 3-day weekend every weekend, but people don't have to take time off and use their vacation for doctor's appointments and dentists and doing stuff with their kids. They can schedule it for either Monday or Friday. So it's almost like not only do you get a 3-day weekend, but it's almost like you get more vacation because you don't have to use it on this, crappy stuff. You can do it on your day off. It's I personally love it too. I work on Monday always, of course, but at my own time in my jammies at home.
Do you find like, so when your installers, you said some work Monday or some don't work Monday, some don't work Friday.
Right.
Is it like a seniority thing? Does some want does everybody want the Friday, and and do they fight for the Friday or do they fight for the Monday? Like how do you juggle what they want? Like, because if the goal is to make them happy, you have to, you know what I mean? How do you juggle that?
Yeah, we had to, we got really lucky when we were setting it up. We started off with, what's everybody's preference. And when we were first setting it up, I want to say that like November was our 2-year anniversary of doing this. It was super easy when we were setting it up because we had so many people that said, I'll take whatever day off I need to take off as long as we make this happen. Everyone wanted it to happen. So they're like, how do I make sure that I'm part of making this happen? We have had, so working Monday is the day that people don't generally want to work. But we have, as we've needed to switch people out, we've usually said, can we get some volunteers? Can we, and we we have a lead who works on Mondays that's like everybody's favorite person. And so when we needed a new assistant to him, the other assistants were like raising their hand. I'd like to work with DJ. So I don't know. It's like everything else. You got to juggle it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We've thought about it. Maybe we're just not big enough to get to that yet. Because I just feel like on any given day, I need everybody. I don't know. We seem to, everybody has a job to do, and everybody kind of leans on each other throughout it. And we don't have a ton of overlap. We have, the girl in the office answering the phones. We got the salespeople upstairs. We have the installs on the road. And my brother's kind of juggling around, and I'm upstairs. And if somebody's not available, there's usually somebody else there. So like, I just feel like maybe we don't have enough overlap to get to that point yet. But it's definitely something I like to visit in the future.
It is hard in the office on Fridays. We have one extra person on Monday. We have fewer people on Friday, and I have to work on Fridays. I'm lucky enough to generally work, not be in the office, talking to customers and doing the day-to-day in the office the rest of the week. So that's the one day, but it's nice to connect there and do it. But Fridays, we just talk about it. I mean, we are going, and it's a point of pride for Team Friday. Oh man, we get so much more done than Team Monday. We're so awesome. But we are running nonstop. I mean, there's barely time to get lunch, and yeah, it's hard, but I don't know. We kind of feel good at the end of the day. Goes fast.
Not bad.
Oh, and cross training, that was one benefit that was huge. People talk about cross training, and oh yeah, I pretty much have people cross trained. When you're handing off every Monday and every Friday, you find out whether or not you really do have the cross training that you need. Because, when people show up on Monday and, no one did their part of the work, on Friday, they're a little irritated, when you show up on Tuesday and no one did your part of it, you got to have people filling in for each other. And if they can't do that, if they don't know how or whatever, you find out right away. And so then when people do go on vacation, it's like, okay, well, I'm used to doing their job every single week. I'm just going to do it more this time. That part was really good.
We have a unfortunate story about trying to do a 4-day week last week for some guys. I gave a couple lead guys an opportunity to do a 4-day week, and they got it. And then on a Friday with his day off, we had a guy break his dang collarbone. I said, this would have been a lot better not to give you guys a 4-day week last week if you were just going to break your collarbone on the Friday you had off. So now we're dealing with a lot of time management stuff with a lead guy out with a broken collarbone. So that's fun.
How long
I don't like 4-day weeks right now.
What's the recovery on that?
10 to 12 weeks for an adult.
Oof. Oof.
Yeah, and I don't know if
You're gonna break your collarbone and do it on your own time or something?
it was on his
Well,
own time, but it affects our time now. He's upset, but
Oh man.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
kind
so I don't
Do
like
you
4-day weeks right now, We always during hunting season it comes up a lot. The guys want to work 4-day weeks so they can go hunting on Fridays, which we're not opposed to as long as we have the work, like we're pretty small to where we can work with them and like, hey, if we got the work to keep you busy for 10 hours a day for 4 days, so be it, and then you can have Friday off, but it just sometimes they want it and then sometimes they don't want it, so but for right now we're still small enough to where we can kind of play with it and do it as is, as wanted.
What hours do you work? What hours do I guess the installers work for in those 10 hours? At 8 to
yeah,
6?
everyone works 7 to 5:30.
Okay.
Yeah. And we tell customers that we're available 7:30 to 5. So gives us kind of a half hour on either end to shut down and start up and things. Yeah.
So is the goal to have an installer kind of knocking on the first door at 7:45, like in the morning? Is it
8.
8?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna think about that more. I'm just trying to juggle in my head, like while you were talking, like again, the install, it seems like a pretty easy thing because they're scheduled. It's the office in the back end that you don't know when the phone's gonna ring. You don't know when somebody's gonna walk into the showroom. You don't, so you kind of have to figure out how to stay open. So to do that, you need the overlap, which is, I don't know. I just don't think we're big enough to do it just yet.
Yeah. No, it is.
Remember, it's your business. You can do whatever the heck you want. You could try it out and then you can stop doing it. So play with it. Figure out
Oh,
what
God.
works for you.
Yeah, it's just the more hours the showroom is open. I mean, when you have a showroom, the goal is to have it as open and
Open.
available as much as possible because the customers have all different schedules. So we don't open
Yeah.
the weekends as it is. That's a big question that we get, and I refuse to. I don't know. I refuse to open weekends. I'm not going back to working weekends. So we just do Monday to Friday. We kind of make that work, but I don't want to bring my showroom down to 4 days a week. So we have to there'd be a lot of juggling to make it happen.
You can
Well, the other
always make the installers 4 days a week and the showroom 5 days a week, if you can do that.
Yeah, I figured I have a feeling there would be animosity between. Yeah.
Yes, get it. The others don't.
Yeah.
I would also say too, not only do you need to have the overlap when you're doing regular business, but do you have the overlap? Can you cover it when someone's on vacation? Can
It
you
works.
cover on the holidays? I mean, you got to think of not just when everything's going great, can you do it? And I would also say if don't try and take it away, or try not to do anything that you have to take away. There's been like this psychological experimentation about if you never give someone something, you're so much better off than if you give them something and then take it away. They're in the same position, but taking something away from people, I mean, it makes them, more upset than if you ever, never did anything to begin with. So try to avoid that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I could see that happening.
Yeah, I knew you also have to worry about the holidays. The holidays get really weird. I know someone who, I was checking with lots of people, and on the holidays, like if you got Monday off, they switched everybody to working like the other 4 days at 8 hours. Then I'm like, but then you don't really get a holiday. So I didn't like that at all. So the other thing that gets really weird is if there's a holiday, then everybody gets a 4 day weekend. And if a holiday lands on Monday, then we are off Friday through Monday. Because remember, some people get Monday off, other people get Friday off, depending on what their day is. So it results in the company being closed for 4 days on every holiday. And then Thanksgiving is super crazy. Thanksgiving, because we took Thursday and Friday off. So now, if you get 2 extra days off, that is a 5 day weekend. So on Thanksgiving, everybody we're shut down for a long time, and Christmas too gets a little crazy. But as we head into the holidays, I say, guys, here's how this works out. Look at all this time you have off. Now, this is a really busy time for us. I need everybody here bringing their A game. You got a lot of time off. We really need to maximize when you're here. So you just got to remind them that you're giving them a lot and you need it back.
Wow. Yep. Good stuff. Good stuff. What else? Anything else? Anybody got any questions? Anybody dying to say something? Haven't said anything all day?
How about vacation time that people give their employees? 1 week, 2 weeks?
We're up to 3 weeks after 5 years.
Shannon, how about you?
1 week the first year, 2 weeks in starting year 3, 3 weeks at 5 years. And that
Same.
includes it's PTO, so vacation and sick time. In Oregon, actually, though, you get sick time starting with 20 hours after 90 days, and then you get another 20 hours. So first year, you actually do get 40 hours of sick time, but only Oregon qualified sick time. If you don't use it, it turns into PTO when you get into year 1. But yeah, so we kind of start with a week of sick time right from the very beginning or after 90 days because Oregon says so. I thought it was interesting, Lana's scheduled weeks off. That never heard of that before, but I mean, what works, works. Not to mention Mardi Gras.
Yes. Yeah, it's worked great so far. We've done it for the last 2 years, and so everybody gets the same vacation. So we close down the whole week of 4th of July and the whole week of Christmas. And that's everybody's vacation is 2 weeks, regardless of how long you've been there, which I haven't. I've only got one employee that's been there 5 years. But so everybody else is 3 years and under. So haven't crossed that bridge yet for 5 years. But anyway, it's worked great. Everybody likes it. And it works better for us because we don't have a lot of people that are cross-trained. I probably have 2 or 3 people that can do 50% of the other person's job. So it's been great so far for everybody.
Do people have additional PTO that they can use?
Yeah, they also get a week sick pay.
Yep.
And then they also get all the holidays on top of that. Like Thanksgiving, we take Thursday and Friday off, depending on how the holiday falls also. And then unless we're really busy, but yesterday was Mardi Gras, so we were closed. I know it was a Tuesday, and normally I probably would have taken off Monday too, but we were really busy and had a lot of homeowner heavy glass to put in, so we worked Monday. But they were off yesterday and they were happy and grateful for it, and everybody showed up today, and it works a lot better. The thing is though, if we're off on a holiday and you don't show up to work the next day, you don't get the holiday pay.
We did that too. We actually do the day before and the day after.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Also, yes.
Or however many. So we also close for the week of the July 4th because we just found like it's like impossible to schedule anything anyway because
Yeah.
July 4th is on like a Wednesday or Thursday. People are gone anyway.
Yeah.
It's hard to get anything done anyway. So
It
we
is.
just give, we pay that week off and then we have additional PTO that we give people. We do the
Yeah.
holidays too, but however many days off. So like that week of the 4th, if you want to get paid that week of the 4th, you have to work the 5 days before and the 5 days after. There's 5 paid days there. So like it's a big,
Okay.
like Shannon said, like there's a lot of time off and there's a big ask
Yeah.
to make up that. So like you need to be here to kind of qualify for it. So if it's
Yeah.
again Columbus Day or Labor Day, whatever, down to the Monday, you have to work the Friday. You have to be here on Friday. You have to be here on Tuesday. I don't want to.
Yeah, and a lot of times if it's a holiday on Monday, then we take a half a day on the Friday before, and we just schedule it accordingly. So everybody get your work done. We schedule half a day so everybody can be out on Friday at 12 o'clock and get their checks, and then we see them on Tuesday. So I don't have any kickback. Everybody loves it. No complaints or anything. So it's working so far. So
Sounds convenient.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, hey, great talk, everyone. I think that was pretty informative. Thanks for showing up. Yeah, don't forget to join us next week. Greg Abrams with 310 Tempering is going to be here. He's a great guy too, and I'm sure he's going to have some some cool info to share. Until then, have a great week and see you next Wednesday.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.